Yeah, we're just going to do the intro again.
Hey guys, welcome into.
Did you hear me sliding my coffee across the desk?
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome into the pre-show before the free show.
It's V&A Moreno. This is the theme song for when V&A is producing. What's up, V? How you doing?
What's up, guys? I'm doing pretty good. Been busy, hard at work. Here.
Doing what?
Here in the stew.
What do you guys do? What would you say you do here?
I make you guys look good.
Judging by this, I would say you're doing a poor job. Although I think this is probably the best that can be done. Welcome into the pre-show for the free show. We need to have the talk.
Oh,
V&A.
Whoa.
We need to finally discuss, I think, what is on everyone's mind these days. Okay? What is on everyone's mind?
What is on?
I think it's the thing that's lingering over every conversation.
Oh! Is it the debate that's like breaking the internet right now?
We got to talk about the gorilla. Okay. So the conversation is: could 100 men beat one gorilla? Could 100 men beat one gorilla? And I've thought a lot about this, and I've read a lot of research papers on this. First and foremost, that gorilla's going to get his. Okay. Like, there is a couple. I think there's the smartest take I saw was from a guy, like a primatologist. It's a guy who studies gorillas, so knows gorillas. Okay. I'm sorry, do you want me to go off like half-cocked and
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And what he said was really important. He said, look, here's the part of the issue is going to be you can't get 100 people in one place in one time close enough to the gorilla, right? Okay. So, like, you're going to have to come at the gorilla in waves.
Okay.
Right? You can't have 100 people. There's just not enough surface area. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, strategically, it's not going to work. They're going to have to come in waves. Okay. And he made a really important point, which is the first couple of waves, like the first, like, let's say you can send 5 guys at a time at them, right? The first 10 to 15 people, they're getting turned into confetti.
Yes.
Like, they're going to get, it's not going to be close. It's not going to be close. But he had a take that I haven't seen elsewhere that I think is going to be my deciding factor and why I think 100 men could take down one gorilla. Okay?
Okay.
And here's why.
Fine.
A silverback gorilla weighs about 500 pounds. Okay?
Yes.
500 pounds. Yes, that is very intimidating to attack, but also that requires a lot of energy to get moving. Okay? I think that gorilla is going to get worn down. I question his stamina. I question his motor. And I think if you are smart about it, then and you got to have a captain. I think this is a real test of human leadership here. And everyone sticks to the plan. I think they can take down a gorilla. I really do. I've settled on that. I think it is a long game. I think that there's going to be some casualties. Like, it's going to be tough.
Do you want to hear?
But that's where I've landed on. I think that the stamina part of it, you're going to have to sacrifice a fair number of men. But, like, I think you can wear them down.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that. That had a lot of, research and time.
Thank you.
I could tell you took the time to think about it.
I'm passionate about this.
I think the gorilla's going to win.
I want to be clear. I think the gorilla is the favorite here. I think the gorilla is like minus 130.
Because also, how much time do we have to, and honestly, all of this other factors shouldn't really come into play, but who's going to go in first?
That's the thing.
Who are we going to decide that in like 5 minutes? Because the first couple guys that are going in, yes, it is going to be confetti.
Human confetti.
And then people are going to see that and they're going to be like,
look, you gotta, like, this is going to be a test. You have to find 100 people who've got that dog in them. Okay,
we
like,
have to be on the same mission.
Everyone has to be like link arms and say, we are in this. This has got to be, did you ever see the movie 300?
Yes.
It's got to be like that, where it's like, we are committed to the cause.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why, like, I think that like the members of the military, because they are purpose driven, they're purpose oriented, they would understand, and they would understand the sacrifice. They can teach us a lot from this. Don't get me wrong, it ain't going to be easy. But
everyone does have to be in it, though.
But, like, here's the thing. 100's the perfect number, though. Because if it was 10, not a contest. Not a contest. I think the minimum number of people it would take to take down one gorilla is like 60. And that would be like 60, like, middle linebackers. You know? Like every middle linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah. But we're talking just average Joes on the side of the road.
Yeah. Like if it's me, I'm still flying. He threw me 5 minutes ago and I am still in the air. Okay? I am so done. But I think the stamina part of it is going to be our best friend here. Just because I think that the first 20 people have to understand that their job is to wear him down and then go out on their shield.
Yes. In your head, as you're flying, you know what this was for.
That's exactly right. As I am hurtling towards doom, and the sight of the earth below me gets closer and closer, I will know that I served my purpose.
Yes.
So I'm frisbeeing towards Grapevine Mills Mall.
You're like, I did this for them. Go on, my brothers.
That's exactly right. Anyway, I wouldn't do it. I'm not volunteering. But I do think the guys have a chance. Anyway, hit the theme, Expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It is Texas Football Today, a program that would make good human confetti. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. It's our friend Vianney Moreno, and can I? Okay, hi Vianney.
Hi guys.
So I'm an old person. I think you know this. You've noticed. You've noticed.
You're getting up there.
You're a young woman.
Yes.
But like all of us follow each other on Instagram because we're also friends, right? At least I think we're friends, Vianney. Although you're very much closer friends with my wife, which is troubling for its own reasons.
We're friends.
Every time I get on your Instagram story, it is a reminder of the life I am not leading. Like you and I live on different planets aside from this office, basically.
What do you mean?
You're like doing cool things and out with friends, and I am sitting at home begging my child to go to sleep.
Being a dad. You're being a dad. And you living through me at the same time, right?
It is. My wife is just like, Vianney's always having so much fun. Today is Thursday, May 1st, 2025. It's going to be May.
Happy May.
Merely 210 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Tim McGraw. Tim McGraw's birthday today. It is episode 1856. On today's show, folks, it's Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Thank you. Jeez. It's Math Tuesday. We're going to be taking a look at the most experienced Texas high school football teams across the state of Texas entering the 2025 Texas high school football season. We'll get into that. And then back half the show, Carter Yates, our own Carter Yates, courageously went to Little Elm with you, right?
What?
Did you go to Little Elm? Little Elm? No, who shot that then?
Oh, we went together. Yes, yes, I did. Sorry, for some reason, I thought you meant like to go to school there. No, yes, we went together.
Take two in 3, 2. Then back half the show, Carter Yates and Vianney Moreno definitely went together to go to Little Elm High School to talk with their new offensive line coach. And we don't do a ton of interviews with offensive line coaches, but when it's former Dallas Cowboy Joe Looney, worth sitting down with. So hear his conversation with Joe Looney coming up here at the back half of the program. Do the first 4 through the door.
We have Mr. Number Jersey 69. Jersey 69. He is with us.
Thanks, guys. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us because today is Thursday. It's May 1st. And on Thursday, May 1st, we always celebrate Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
It's Math Tuesday. Here on Texas Football Today, where we dive inside the numbers of Texas high school football to give you a better grasp of what's going on within our favorite sport. And today we're going to talk about experience. We're going to talk about how much it matters. I think that there's kind of reasons to believe that experience is underrated and reasons to believe that experience is overrated. And I'll give you an example. I think the Ganado Indians last year were a perfect example of experience being properly rated or perhaps even underrated. That was a team that went to the state semifinal a year ago, or in 2023, and all of us around here said, wow, that's super impressive because they did it with so many youngsters, so many guys who were underclassmen that were going to be coming back for the 2024 season, which is why they started the year as the number 1 team and why they won the state championship, for example. The other thing, the other way to think about it is that I think that you can never really project those breakout stars, those players who are going to be sophomores or juniors, or maybe even first year varsity players as seniors, first year starters as seniors, that are going to be able to take your team to the next level. And so as a result, I think your mileage may vary on what you think about experience. All that is to say, one of the things that we do as part of our preparation for the 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber, is that we gather a questionnaire from every high school coach in the state. And we ask them a lot of the nitty-gritty information. How many lettermen do you have coming back? What's your defensive formation? Like, how many yards did your quarterback throw for last year? Things like that. A lot of nitty-gritty information. We like to follow up with a lot of them to get kind of the color in the lines. But one of the things we ask about is returning starters and what they have back. Now, a caveat on that before we dive into this. I think in my experience, Texas high school football coaches have differing and varying opinions on what constitutes a returning starter. Vianney Moreno, I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Because you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, right?
Okay.
Dak Prescott. Would he count as a returning starter for the Dallas Cowboys next year?
A returning starter, yes.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Cooper Rush, would he count as a returning starter?
No.
Even though I think he started more games than Dak.
He's not even with us anymore.
Okay, that's not the point. What I'm saying is that there's not a hard and fast rule on what constitutes a returning starter. Maybe you started 6 of your 11 games, and so you say, well, you're a returning starter, right?
That makes sense.
Or there are other coaches who say, if you started 1 game, then you're a returning starter. There are also players who they cycle guys in that may not have been starters, that they may be counting as returning starters, so to speak. So a grain of salt on all this, because this is self-reported. But I want to show you the teams with the most returning starters heading into 2025. And so we'll throw up the first graphic here. And this is going to be a list of some teams that maybe you didn't expect or maybe you did. So I think these kind of fall into a couple of categories. One category is extremely young varsity programs. And what I mean by that are programs like Eagle Mountain, who played a first-year varsity season last year, Lubbock Liberty, Fort Bend Crawford, right? These are programs, Katy Harmony, they're first-year varsity programs, New Caney West Fork. Those are programs that we expected because they played with basically all juniors, or they played with all underclassmen, right? We expected them to have a lot of returning starters. There's other teams here that I think are rather interesting. Cedar Hill TLC. Cedar Hill TLC actually finished with a 1-10 record, but they had a bunch of forfeits in there too. They were better than that record indicates. They bring back all 11 offensive starters. You've also got programs like Gladewater. Gladewater brings back every defensive starter. Canyon Lake brings back every defensive starter. Whitesboro brings back every offensive starter. And so it's a bit of a mixed bag here as far as the profile of these programs that bring back all of their starters within one unit, okay? But this may not necessarily mean a hill of beans, because here's what I mean by that. How many of these teams were actually good? And so what I did, I took the same graphic, and all I'm going to do is sort out the teams that have a winning record coming out of last year. And there's three of them. Whitesboro has all 11 offensive returning starters from a team that went 6-5 a year ago. Canyon Lake has all 11 defensive starters coming back from a team that went 8-4. And then the one that I want to flag for you here is Bremond. Bremond brings back all 11 defensive starters coming off of a run to the state semifinals, a 12-3 record. We're going to talk a little bit more about Bremont, but that's one that keeps them out. The rest of these teams that bring back all of their offensive starters are bringing back were under 500 last year. They did not have a winning record. And so, again, it's one of those things that your mileage may vary. Does having all of the starters back from a team that struggled, is that better or worse than bringing back maybe like half of your starters from a team that was really good, right? I think there's different ways to measure that. But I want to take a look at one other thing. And because I think around here, we've said this before, if you win 10 games in the season, you had a good year. Would you say that's fair, VNA? Mm-hmm. That if Lake Dallas won 10 games, you would say, great year, Lake Dallas.
Yeah.
That's kind of the for me, like a decent threshold. If you get to double-digit wins, there's no debate. You had a good year. Yeah. You know, maybe it matters for your expectation level and your community or whatever, but it's a good year and you should celebrate it. And so what I wanted to do is I want to filter down only teams that won 10 or more games in 2025 and look at which teams have the most returning starters from that group. And these are teams that I would say you need to keep an eye on heading into 2025. So let's roll that beautiful bean footage. And here are the teams that bring back the most offensive starters from 10-win teams. On the offensive side, there's 3 teams that bring back 10 offensive starters. Canyon West Plains, which was a play away from essentially playing in a state championship. PSJA North, down there in the Rio Grande Valley, and South Lake Carroll. They bring back they bring 10 of their 11 offensive starters. And then you've got a sextuplet of teams that have 9 offensive starters coming back. Brenham was very young. I called one of their games on FanDuel Sports Southwest this past year. They were extremely young. They bring back a ton of playmakers. Pleasant Grove brings back 9 offensive starters. We knew they were young last year, and that's showing up. Sealy is bringing back 9 offensive starters after a breakout season. Tidehaven, keep an eye on the Tigers. They're in 3A Division II, especially with the uproar at the top of the classification. Tidehaven is a team that brings back 9 offensive starters. Windthorst brings back 9 offensive starters as well. It's a team with state championship pedigree. And Wink was very young last year, and they are coming back in a big, big way with 9 offensive starters. On the defensive side, we already mentioned Bremont. They're the only team with coming off of a 10-win season that brings back their entire unit with their offensive defense. There's 3 other teams with 10 defensive starters coming back. Shelbyville, the Dragons, coming back. Stephenville brings back 10 defensive starters, and Tyler Chapel Hill. And then there's 4 teams that bring back 9 defensive starters. Hitchcock brings back 9 defensive starters, very young defensively last year. San Antonio Johnson brings back 9 defensive starters. Sulphur Springs out there in East Texas brings back 9 defensive starters. And there's one other team. It's South Lake Carroll. South Lake Carroll brings back 9 defensive starters. In fact, if you were to take a look at the 10-win teams across the state of Texas and the teams that bring back the most number of returning starters combined total, you've got 2 teams that bring back 19 total starters. One is Bremont. They've got 8 starters coming back on the offensive side. And the other is the only team to appear on both sides of this graphic, and that's South Lake Carroll. A team that, you remember, went 15-1. A team that played in a state championship a year ago and is now bringing back 19 starters from that team. Brenham, Canyon West Plains, PSJ North, Sealy, Shelbyville, Pleasant Grove, Tidehaven, Windthorst, and Windthorst, bringing back 17 starters. But as far as returning experience from teams that played very deep, Bremont and South Lake Carroll are the 2 teams that you should have circled, because if experience matters, then the Tigers and the Dragons have it in spades. So, to look at the most experienced Texas high school football teams heading into the 2025 Texas high school football season. Of course, we're crunching all these numbers to put together the 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which you can get by becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Go to texasfootball.com/subscribe, become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber, get the 2025 summer edition mailed to you. It'll end up on your doorstep. Plus, tonight, you can watch playoff baseball and playoff softball on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Right? It's tonight.
Yes.
Dave Campbell's Texan Live. You watch it tonight. You don't got to wait for a magazine to get value for your subscription. You get it tonight. It also makes a great gift, and Mother's Day is coming up. Get your mother the gift of football. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Would your mother like a subscription to Dave Campbell's Texas Football? Like if you got it for her?
Yeah, she'd appreciate it.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Show your mother you love her. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Coming up here in just a moment, Carter Yates stopped by Little Elm High School to talk with former Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman turned Little Elm offensive line coach Joe Looney about the transition from the pros to the high school ranks. But first, a word from these valued partners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Joined out here by Hayden Gunner at Denton High School. Man, it's a big day for you. You got your decision coming right now.
After a lot of thinking, with the family talking, stressing out.
Let's see exactly where Malik Hawkins is going to be heading.
First off, I want to start by thanking God. Without him, I wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't be blessed with all these opportunities.
Got 5 schools he's choosing between. We're about to find out who it's going to be. Got your teammates, coaches, family, friends surrounding you, so you couldn't have a bigger stage right here to announce it on. So without further ado, we're going to go to the man right here, Kobe Foreman. Who's it going to be?
I will be attending.
I'll be committed to the University of Oklahoma.
University of Texas A&M.
Stanford University.
The University of Oklahoma. Yeah.
Every legend starts with a vision, For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Carter Yates, Dave Campbell's Texas Football here with former Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman Joe Looney and the new Little Elm High School offensive line coach. Joe, we're recording this on draft night.
Oh, yeah.
It's Thursday. What's your draft story? I know you got drafted by the 49ers in 2012. Did you have a cool draft story about it?
Yeah, you know what? I actually got a really cool draft story. So I played in the Senior Bowl and actually got hurt in the Senior Bowl, tore my Liz Frank in my foot. Yeah, it was crazy. So that morning I wake up and I'm like, all right, it's going to be good. The doctor's going to tell me I got a little sprain, but go visit the doctor, get the MRIs, and, really didn't get the best diagnosis. I was sitting in there asking Doc, hey, we got the NFL Combine coming up. Am I going to be able to run in the NFL Combine? He's like, son, you're going to have surgery. So it was rough. It was really rough, going through the draft process, hurt, and getting there and thinking, man, am I even going to get drafted? Am I going to be able to live out my dream? But that third day in the fourth round, San Francisco, Coach Harbaugh called me, 408 number. I was like, man, who's this 408 number calling me? And my little brother at the time was sitting there. He played for the Green Bay Packers, for a couple of years. But he was sitting there and he ran outside because my mom and dad, they were like, man, we can't watch no more. We got to take it outside. And,
it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. And so I answer the phone call. My brother's freaking out. Mom, Dad, Joe's getting drafted. And I just remember, Coach Harbaugh telling me, hey, it's Coach Harbaugh from the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to make this trade with the Detroit Lions. How do you feel about that? And I'm sitting there. I got a cast on my foot. And I'm like, Coach, sounds pretty darn good to me. Yeah. But it was nice and intimate at home with my family. And just a lovely day, a dream come true.
So drafted by the 49ers. We all remember you in North Texas for a long career with the Dallas Cowboys. When you retired from the NFL, are you a fan of the NFL, a certain team, or just like players that you know?
Right. Definitely players. Yeah. I think the biggest part of this game is creating relationships. And the relationships that I was able to create in San Francisco, Tennessee, Dallas, even for that short stint, being with the Giants, grabbing my apple and leaving, It was really good, man. But, I learned what it was like to be a professional. And funny enough, Coach Solari, who's the Dallas Cowboys O-line coach now, was my O-line coach from the 49ers.
Okay.
And just really learned how to be a professional from guys like Joe Staley, Alex Boone, Jonathan Goodwin, Anthony Davis. And never forget these guys, just watching them compete and really hone in on their craft. And it was just a wonderful transition to Tennessee because I took that with me. And then being able to play at Dallas with, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Lyle Collins. I mean, just a plethora of knowledge in football.
So with the Dallas Cowboys, you played with such an outstanding offensive line. What was that like every day, day in and day out, working with those guys?
Man, first of all, it was fun. It was a fun time because you think you got something down for the game, and these guys are, after practice, coming up, hey, how do you think we should get this block? Should we use this hand? Should we involve this hand? The technical aspect of it and the attention to detail is always what kept me into the game. And funny story, when I was with San Francisco, Randy Moss, I got a chance to play with him. But I remember him sitting in meetings and he writing everything down. It's a day one install. It's like, Randy, what are you doing writing this down, Doc? And he's sitting there, he's like, hey, Loon, when you think you made it in this league, that's when things don't go well. So I always had that in the back of my mind too.
Wow.
So to be with those guys and honing in on the attention to detail and how good can we become at playing the game, that was the obsession.
Man, that gets me fired up.
Oh, dude, this is chill.
So what brought you to coaching at Little Elm? I know you started coaching when you retired from the NFL, but you spent some time off the football field as a teacher.
Yeah.
Why now at Little Elm?
Yeah, so it's the right time for me and my family, and definitely finding the right coach like Coach Alexander and the guys he's putting around this program. And I just want to be a part of it. You know, I want to be a part of the team. And my wife gave me permission to do it too. So that's always important. And I think as a competitor, you never forget it. You always want to be a part of the game. And when you've had that experience of being a part of a team, you want to be a part of a team. Want to be a part of the team, regardless of the win-loss column. I could, care less about that. I just want to be a part of the team and teach these young men, first of all, how to be responsible outside of football, and then teach them how to play the game the right way. Yeah. Coach Garrett always used to say, hey, give yourself a chance to win the game. That's what I want to do for these young guys.
What's the biggest thing you think this is an unfair question because you took away so much from Jason Garrett, but when you think back on your Dallas Cowboys career, what was the biggest thing you took away from Jason Garrett?
Man, so the biggest thing I took away from Coach Garrett is to enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. He had a plethora of football knowledge, and he always had these wonderful stories that he would tell. And one of them he used to tell was about, there's snakes behind you chasing you, and you're running away from the snakes, and then you get to a cliff, and there's lions down there, and you're trying to lower yourself down to get away from the snakes. But he had this part in there where he said, and there's a bushel of strawberries, and the guy just takes them and devours them. So just enjoying the moment. And I think a lot of football, as you know, it could be, 110 days outside, your body's beat up, you're tired. How do you enjoy those moments? You have to enjoy those moments in football. So that's the biggest thing he taught me.
Who were your biggest influences to become a football coach?
Man, so one was my dad. My dad coached me and my brother growing up, and I really learned the love of the game from him. He always used to tell us Saturday mornings we'd be going out to Little League. Looney, get cuckoo for Cocoa Month. And me, as an 8-year-old kid, I'm sitting there like, man, this guy's a psycho. Can we even say that? But my dad was so passionate about the game. He played, in Louisville, played at the University of Louisville, and just carried that, passion for the game with him. So definitely him. And then also the coaches down at Sam Houston, the guys down there, that's where I started coaching. And I was a young cat at that time, really had, not a lot of idea of what I was doing. But guys like Jimmy Sanders, Eric Ward, the guys down there that really showed me the ropes and taught me, what coaching was all about and what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, as a coach, you can't put the pads on anymore. You can't put
as bad as you want to.
Yeah, as bad as I want to. I tell these guys in the locker room, man, I'm so jealous of you right now. You get to go hit somebody, and there's no repercussion about it. You get to go take your anger out on somebody, and that's a fun part of football. But as a coach, you have to understand that, you're really living through these players. Well, you're living through them, and if you can get them to adopt your mindset and the passion for the game and the way it's supposed to be played, then I think you've done a great job as a coach.
I think that passion for you comes from your dad playing at Louisville, but I know as the Dallas Cowboys, you were a fan favorite for that personality, right? Because you come out wearing the Zeke crop top and went viral on social media. I've heard you say in an interview that comes from your mom, that personality.
Yes.
What was the best joke she ever played on you?
Oh, man. So my mom was outgoing, just outgoing woman. And I think one of the best jokes she ever got us with was one Christmas, me and my brother, we were really wanting a PlayStation 2. It's like, yeah, that's what we want. Please, Mom, please. Yes. And, we're all excited. She's like, okay, yep, I got it. Like, good stuff, I got it. And, we wake up Christmas morning, Mom, what's going on? What's happening here? She's like, oh, guys, I completely forgot, let me go see if I can look in the trunk or something. So all day, she goes through this spiel all day. And then at the end of the day, pulls out this PlayStation 2. So that's why, Mom, thank you. We appreciate it. But just a phenomenal woman. She was a teacher also. So, she had to deal with all the different personalities. And I think that's where she got it from. And she just grounded us in Christ too. Grounded us in Jesus Christ and always, had us be thankful for what we had and just have fun. Have fun with the game.
And so you mentioned your mom as a teacher. You were a teacher for these past couple years. You still will be a little while, right? But you were a teacher only. You stepped away from the game for a bit. How do you think that time off might have helped you get refreshed a little bit and be ready to come back into football?
Yeah, I just think that it creates a thirst for the game. And I think as a teacher, it's a wonderful way to compete with yourself. And when you learn how to do that as a teacher and a coach, I think the world really opens up for you because that competitiveness never leaves you. And being able to compete in the classroom and see how good can I, communicate this content to the kids. And that's one thing. Teaching them content is one thing, but then teaching them about relationships. Should I date this person? Should I date that person? That's where, the wisdom and knowledge come in. And I'm very thankful to, have these 34 years under my belt so I can give it back to them.
Yeah.
Let them know, how to navigate each situation in life because, these kids need it nowadays.
Do you think you're the most intimidating teacher these kids have ever had?
I think I'm the most intimidating teacher on the first day.
Okay.
When they see me on the first day and then they're like, oh, he's a big soft.
Yeah.
Because I really only was physical between the whistles. Other than that, I'm a big softy heart. Oh yeah, I like to mess around, play around with the kids, but definitely hold them accountable to what they're doing and trying to teach them, hey, don't just go through the motions. Get something out of this when you come here. So.
Do they recognize you for the NFL career?
So Google.
Yeah, that exists now.
Oh. So I think it was 2019. I was in the locker room before a game and I was really into bodybuilding. Really into bodybuilding. And I'm in the locker room. I roll up my underwear, like I got on the singlet. Like I'm on stage for Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, that's no joke.
Yeah, I'm posing, in my underwear. Not even thinking about, hey, maybe one day my students will Google this and find it. So they Googled me, found it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not me. That's my twin brother. That's him. But I tell you what, these kids, they want to know everything about you. And if you can sell yourself to them and they bought in for you, then you can teach them whatever you're trying to teach them. But they just want to know that, you're here for them.
What excites you about this Little program right now? We're here in this beautiful indoor facility at North Texas, right, where you played NFL. What excites you about coming to Little Elm?
Man, I'm just excited to be a part of a team, like I said earlier. And like I said, Coach Alexander is getting all the right guys in place here to not only teach these guys how to play football, but to get them ready for the responsibilities that they're going to have off the field, having a family, having to go to work. And that's why I'm really excited to be a part of these kids' lives. And one day have them come back to this field house, and see us with another, crop of guys and get to laugh with them and talk to them and say, hey, you remember when we used to do all of this? And, we were struggling with that. And now we got these guys and, potentially get them to, talk to them. But I tell you what, North Texas high school football, this is absolutely amazing. I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. And the night before our varsity games, first of all, we were playing on a dirt field. It was a dirt field. Google Earth, Lake Worth High School, you'll find it. Lake Worth High School, West Palm Beach, Florida, I'm telling you. But we used to paint the lines, with our coaches the night before the games. So to have the facilities, all the glitz and glamour, there's really no excuse out here not to be successful as an athlete, in Texas. So excited to be able to use all of the tools here.
Yeah. We're excited to have you at Texas high school football, guys. Joe Looney, new Little Elm offensive line coach. We're watching the Lobos in 2025. I'm Carter Yates, Dave Campbell's signing off.
Thank you, guys.
There he is, Joe Looney, new offensive line coach for the Little Elm Lobos. I really hope that was one person's first impression of this show. Is that they were like, oh, cool, like, I'd love to catch up with Joe Looney. They got an interview? That's interesting. And then at the end of it, there's just a house exploding.
Math Tuesday wants to come in so many times this time.
Joe Looney, excited to see what he does in that transition from the NFL to high school coaching. It sounds like he's got an awesome attitude about it, and I'm really excited to see what they do. You have a literal professional offensive lineman who's going to be teaching those Lobos how to work, so it's going to be fascinating to watch that. Appreciate his time. Appreciate Carter Yates and Vianney Moreno going out there. Speaking of which, let's go to Vianney Moreno for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts. Got anything you want to send people to the weekend with?
Well, first of all, I do want to say thank you to Carter for letting me come out with him, and also Sam was a really big help finishing that up. It was a lot of fun going out there and getting to talk to Joe Looney.
That's a cool facility too, right?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Yeah, Lobo's got.
As you can tell, there was a lot going on back there. We were in the midst of lots of practices, so you could tell it was a very busy facility. So regardless, it was super cool to be there and getting to see Joe Looney and how charismatic and good storytelling, all of that stuff was really cool to see.
He's a big guy too.
Yes. Yeah, he's tall. He's tall, but he's really nice in person, so is great regardless.
Okay, anything else? You got any words of wisdom you want to send the people with?
I
watched a movie last night.
Oh, go ahead.
And it had Adam Scott in it. Your boy.
Go on.
The Black Mass. It's a by old movie. I mean, it's like probably like 8-10 years old.
Black Mass?
Yeah. It's about, but he's just he just shows up. He's kind of like a supporting actor in this.
Oh, okay.
It's a Johnny Depp movie, but yeah, if you want to see Adam Scott with a mustache, you can.
With a mustache? Wait, how long is his hair?
Longish.
I'll check it out.
Gross. You're gross. You know that? That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter. Did my mic just give out?
Wow.
Follow us on Twitter at DCTF.
Get it in less.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Joe Looney, offensive line coach for the Little Elm Lobos, for being our guest. For Vianney Moreno, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you Monday on Texas Football Today.